Life speaks. It speaks through struggles and success, through music and messages, the preconceived and the unexpected. Whether you are in the depths of the valley or in the midst of your mountaintop experience, everyone needs to be encouraged from time to time. Here we will share stories of strength, testimonies of triumph, verses of victory, observations, and information meant to touch the heart and uplift the soul, to keep you on your path of purpose and navigate this thing called life with power and authority. This is Andrea L. Hines, and I'm your host for When Life Speaks, here on ALH Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Streaming Inspirational Broadcast Network. I am glad you accepted the invitation to join us tonight. There's something in this broadcast just for you, and if it is going to be a blessing to your life, it will be to someone else as well. So share, tag, start a watch party, and invite someone you know to join us. Then turn down the volume of life and get ready to receive, so that when life speaks, you'll speak life. Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening. Look, Lynn, behave. We're going to behave this evening. Well, maybe not. But good evening, everybody, and welcome to When Life Speaks. You have tuned in to ALH Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Streaming Inspirational Broadcast Network, and I am so glad that you are here tonight. Good evening to you, Ida. Glad to have you at When Life Speaks tonight, and good evening to you, Angie O. Glad to have you and Linda. Linda's the third one in this evening, and I know we're going to get some other folks in tonight. We have a good show planned for you this evening, and I'm so happy to have my co-host back with me this evening. Hey there, Lynn.
Hi. No, you
Are
don't like
you a
my
ventriloquist tonight? What is that?
hi. I said hi. I was giving my wave.
Oh, okay. Is that
My
what's
wave.
happening?
No,
All right. All right.
never mind.
Well, we are going to do things a little bit differently than we've ever done them before. We have a summer series going on. You know, we do stories of strength and testimonies of triumph, and we do keep faith flowing. We do the power of one. We have lots of different categories because we do try to provide programming that is inspirational and encouraging to everybody. But recently I did the newsletter for When Life Speaks. It comes out the first Monday of every month. Lynn, did you get your copy?
Yes, ma'am.
Newsletter? Yeah. So if you all don't have your copy, be sure that you sign up. Let me know at speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com, and I will be sure and get you the link so that you can keep up with what's happening on ALH Broadcasting and on the program. But one of what we talked about for July was When Life Speaks, connect the dots. Connect the dots. And I don't know whether you all remembered, Lynn, I think you do probably because you got little ones. Your ones may be too little, but you remember the activity books that we used to get, and they would have those pages. Some were coloring pages and others were pages where you connect the dots.
Yeah,
You remember that? You
I
remember?
remember they use them here.
They do? Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Connect the dots. And sometimes you would have enough of a line so that you could see what the border was.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just had numbers or
Yes.
letters or something to connect in order to make a picture.
Right.
And when I was writing the newsletter, I thought, life is a lot like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a series of dots that have to be connected
Mm-hmm.
so that we can see the picture, the
Right.
grand plan, if you will, see
Mm-hmm.
what it is that God has prepared for us and planned for us. And in that, it would be really nice to kind of go from one thing to another where you could
Mm-hmm.
see it all and, and know exactly where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
life isn't that way, you know.
Right.
There's some twists and some turns and some things that are happening that, and we need to manage and we need to maneuver and we need to be able to go in the right direction, in the right direction, so that we reach the destiny that God has and the purpose and plan that He has for us. But one thing that we know has to happen as we're connecting the dots and as we're doing all of these things is we have to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
We can't stop in the middle of things that are going on. And there are always some things that we say about quitting. You know,
Mm-hmm.
do you remember any of those little adages or sayings about that we always say about quitting? Like we'll say, for example,
Critters
like
never win. You talking about
quitters,
things like that?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Quitters
Mm-hmm.
never win. Can you think of another one?
Slow and steady wins the race. So I don't think that was supposed to be the one, but
But hey, that's one that we
it's
use.
true.
It's one that we
But
use.
wait, before
Mhm,
you go forward, I wanted to go back to when you talked about connecting the dots in the picture that you were referring to. Now, the interesting thing is that if you don't connect the dots correctly, your picture doesn't really look like a picture.
mhm,
That
mhm.
picture is a little skewed when you don't connect the dots correctly.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times when you don't, if it's too intricate, if
Mm-hmm.
there's too many little places to connect,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't think they're going in the right direction, you may
Right.
stop.
Right.
You just might stop and say, you
Mm-hmm.
know what, I'll try to come back to that one and turn the page and connect the dots on another picture, maybe one that's more spacious or doesn't have as much to
But
deal.
let's go with the kids. If my a lot of my connected dots sometimes are alphabets or they're numbers.
Mhm,
Um, if I don't know all my numbers, if I'm only good at counting from 1 to 10 and the sheet is from 1 to 15, as far as I can go is 10.
mhm.
I don't know what to do after that.
Don't know what to do.
Don't
Don't-
know which way to go. Don't know which. I see that some people are dropping comments in there for you.
yeah,
Carmen
yeah.
has one.
Carmen says nothing beats a failure but a try.
That's right.
Absolutely,
That's
Carmen.
right. Hmm.
Ida has one. Winners never quit.
That's right.
And there's another one. Quitting is not an option.
It's not.
That's another one we
Hmm.
say all the time. Quitting
Hmm.
is not an option. And I want to read you all something. It is a poem that if you find it, sometimes it will say anonymous.
Hmm.
Sometimes it will say it's by John Greenleaf Whittier, and sometimes they'll say it's by Edgar Guest.
Hmm.
He uses part of the words of this poem, and then he throws some other stuff in there. But it's about quitting. Quit quitting. That's it. And quit quitting. Stop it. Just stop it. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But I want to read this to you because it's going to lead us into the rest of our discussion. And
Hmm.
I know all of you have heard this at some point in time. At least I think you have. And it says, when things go wrong,
Hmm.
as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and
Hmm.
you want to smile, but you have to sigh. It probably should say, but you feel like you want to cry. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. And many a failure turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow.
Mm-hmm.
Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worst that you must not quit. You must not quit. And I was thinking about that today, and that's a favorite poem from when you talk about back in the day. I'm talking way back in the day because we used to have to learn that at school for graduations and things. You know, don't quit,
Woo.
don't quit. But
Graduation speech.
what is what are some of the things, Lynn, that you think make us want to quit? What drives us to quit sometime?
Fear. Um, People we listen to. Doubt. The project may seem bigger than what we originally thought it would be.
Hmm.
Um, Finances, depending on what it is. Unsure of yourself. Unsure of yourself. And I think this is the other thing. We quit sometimes when we realize that the process takes longer than we anticipated.
Hmm.
When that process takes a little longer, when you thought that you would be finished by now, and
Yep,
mm, sometimes it's like you look at it and it's, I don't know if I want to continue that journey.
yep. You get frustrated,
Hmm.
and sometimes you quit when you're tired.
Exhausted.
You get tired. You get exhausted.
Yeah.
You say,
Enough's enough. I'm done.
"Yep, I'm done with this. It was a good start, but
Hmm.
I,
Hmm.
I'm through now." Ida said she has it in a large poster in her classroom. Oh,
Oh.
yes, 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 yes. Um, okay, those are some of the things that may make you want to quit.
Hmm.
So, how can you keep from quitting? In the midst of, tired, yeah, you can get some rest, and you're
Hmm.
frustrated there, you got to do some things about that. But what are some of the things that we can uh, do to keep from getting in that place where we just want to throw up our hands and say, okay, enough is enough. I'm
You
done.
got to remember your why. Why did you start it in the first place?
Good, good,
You
good,
got to
good.
remember your why. You
Mm-hmm.
got to remember the why. And you got to remember that, I hate to say it, but what's that saying, that Rome wasn't built in a day?
Right.
It wasn't. So, and even if it fails, that doesn't mean you give up. That means you take what you did correct and you build upon it. Get the lesson that needs to be learned from it. But as you said, we don't quit. You continue to grow. You continue to grow. Sometimes, yeah, I don't know, they can't see the things on my wall, but it depends on what you have surrounded around you. And you want to definitely want to be
Positive
around
things.
positive thoughts, and you want to be around people who are moving positively. It's kind of like those people who say, how you going to help me come out of debt and you in debt too?
Yeah.
You got to look at your circle. You
Mm-hmm.
want to have that cheerleader that's going to be with you like, we're not sitting here. Come on, let's go. Let's go do this. Let's run after this. Let's be with somebody that's going to push you and challenge you.
Hmm. Hmm. And sometimes sometimes that's hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's hard to find. Alan, I think there's something that we need to remove, and I don't know how to do it. So I'm hoping that you are around so that you can take care of that for us this evening. One of the things that I thought about, and it's actually the topic for tonight, because in all of the things that we have talked about,
Mm-hmm.
um, having positive thoughts, having positive people around you, going back to your why and all of that. there's a common thread through all
Mm-hmm.
of those things, and that common thread is tenacity.
Yep.
And that's what we wanted to just kind of touch on a little bit
Mm-hmm.
tonight, was this issue of tenacity. All these things require tenacity. And when I thought about tenacity, and you know me, I went to dictionary and I was
Dictionary.
looking up, let me see what Webster has to say
Had to
about
say.
tenacity. And one of the things it says, being very determined,
Mm-hmm.
persistent, and persistence speaks to continuance,
Mm-hmm.
being able to continue doing things, and resistance. So persistence on one hand, and
And
resistance
resistance.
on the
Wow.
other. And the
Mm-hmm.
resistance is to have the strength to resist. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Opposition, danger, or hardship.
Mm-hmm.
Opposition, danger, or hardship. Have
Mm-hmm.
you ever been in that place, Lynn, when it
Of
just
course.
gotten the best of you, you know?
That's why when you said it, I was looking like that. Of course.
Is it is but is it hard to kickstart that tenacity? What did you do? Because sometimes when you, especially when there are things that are frustrating for you, and you're already exhausted,
Yep.
what helps to put that tenacity in gear? What helps you to turn that on?
I have to use. I don't know. I don't hope I'm not getting. I think everybody pretty much knows that I have my extra side hustle. I don't know whether or not I can say it, but um, there was a point where everything was growing. We use Facebook for a lot of things, and I was growing and I was doing what I needed to do, but then my page was hacked. That's not just my personal page, that's my business page, that's my VIP page. And I literally had to start over from zero. That's having a personal page of almost 400, a VIP at almost 80, because I had just started that, and you're hacked. That literally threw me. I mean, it literally threw me, but I couldn't stop. I didn't have time to stop. I didn't have time to wallow and be like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And everybody was like, no, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Just do this. Well, the time had lapsed. It wasn't like I could reset my page and everything would come up and I would be back where I was. I literally had to recreate everything. Recreate it, but then I thought about it. I was a little discouraged. It was like, oh, like on a Friday, which meant I had like over the weekend to try to recreate these pages because I got to still keep going. I didn't have time to stop and think about it. And then when I realized how much it impacted me, I still kept going. And I kept going because what I had to do is change my mindset. And my mindset wasn't so much in looking at the defeat as much as it was looking at it at, okay, you get to start again, but you get to start over from the beginning.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get to do it again. So what you didn't do right this time, you can now do right now.
Hmm.
So a lot of that, when you want to get to the point which you can't figure out what to do, it's about a mindset.
Yes.
It's a mindset. And if you are, and that's the tenacity, because I mean, there were days I was like, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's just like, I couldn't. And then when you have to start over, those people, you have to figure out who they were.
Yeah.
You have to really figure out who they were. And then but the wonderful thing about it is that I was able to reconnect with people I hadn't seen before. So
Hmm.
starting over wasn't a bad thing. It
Right.
was actually a good thing. But again, it's the mindset.
Hmm.
It's the mindset. If you choose to, y'all forgive me. If you choose to sit in it, you become stagnant. And
Hmm.
to me, stagnation is almost like quicksand. It'll pull you down.
Right.
But
Right.
you got to keep moving because I have to remember what my why is. My why is not your why. It's
Hmm.
my why.
Hmm.
It's my why. So it had to keep me moving. And I enjoyed it. And I'm thankful that I have my daughter who is very tech savvy, and she helped me get it together, at least for the foundation. But I still had to build it from there. Nobody else is going to do it for me. I had to do that.
And
So,
Lynn, there's another piece of that
mhm,
that I thought about in this issue of tenacity and continuing to do what you're doing,
mhm.
is in understanding that most of what we do is not just about us.
Right.
What we do in terms of the business that you have,
Mhm,
and ABC daycare, and me with the broadcasting and
mhm,
8 at 8, and the different things that I do.
mhm.
It's not just about me. I'm not doing them for
Right.
me. I'm not doing it because of me.
Mhm,
I have an assignment, a divine appointment that I've been given the opportunity to fulfill. So it is like when we're talking about connect the dots, there is that connectivity
mhm.
in God's order of
Yeah.
things, because what I do, you may be dependent on. You may be
Mhm,
dependent on. Um, you may be dependent on my goods and my
mhm,
services. And so my creativity has to come into play in order to get things going. Uh, yes, it does, Angie. And thank you, Carmen, for your comment as well. But we talk about, I want to be a blessing. I want to
mhm,
do something for somebody else. I
mhm,
want to have an impact. I want to be an influencer. I want to be
mhm.
all these things. And you can't be that and not be present. You,
Right.
you can't accomplish those things if you take your ball and go home. You
Mhm,
decide, I'm not even going to wait for halftime. I'm just
mhm,
going to leave right now. I fouled. It
mhm.
was a
And
foul.
that's
It was
something
a
that we,
flag on the play. I'm just going to leave now.
that's something that we say is that, you got to show up.
Mm-hmm.
You got to show up.
Mm-hmm.
If you want it to happen, you got to show up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There are many times that for the side that I do, I can show up and won't nobody be there. There have been times I'm like, oh, there's nobody here. And there are times that I don't want to finish it, but I keep going. And I will talk to this phone like there's a million people on the other end.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
don't care if it's three, but I'm going to talk to those three like it's a million people. Doesn't matter, because the truth of the matter is, if I don't talk to the three like they're a million, when I get the million, what you gonna say?
Mm-hmm.
How you gonna handle it?
Mm-hmm.
What you gonna do? So yeah, I talk to them like, yep, sure do. And then sometimes I look at that number and it just says alive.
Looking for the
There
red
is no
box. Just
number.
let me see the red box.
There's sometimes I'll be like, Jasmine, can you please hop on? Can you please hop on for me? And she'll be like, but mommy, I can't stay. Just hop on. I just need one person. Just hop on. But it's those moments when I show up that have been such a blessing, because I can't tell you the number of times that I have people that will tell me how much they enjoy just coming on,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and how much it means to them that I'm on. So it's like you said, there's a lot of things that we do that it's not for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for us, but what God has given us to do is for others. And I appreciate the fact that He loves me enough to use me to be the vessel that He needs me to be to help somebody else. That's what I love. And I think that's one thing that gives me that tenacity as well, because it's not about me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not about me.
And it's so and I think also we have to understand that when we are, whatever we are doing, we are fulfilling an assignment.
Mm-hmm.
We are fulfilling an assignment.
Yep.
and we are expected as children
Mm-hmm.
of God to do it with excellence,
Mm-hmm.
to do it in a manner that would be pleasing in His sight. I
Mm-hmm.
know that there are business owners on the line and other entrepreneurs and everything. And, you guys weigh in if you want to, if you have had those moments of frustration or fatigue or whatever, and you just wanted to throw in the towel. And sometimes people, and it is important that people, that the right people are around you, that the right people are pouring into
Yes.
you, and that they are people who are positive as well.
Mm-hmm.
I had an opportunity to do something, and I didn't feel right about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had people tell me, "Oh yeah, go ahead. That's what you need to do. That's what you should do." But that wasn't what I believed God was telling me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes um, when you want to quit, you stay the course. You
Mm-hmm.
stay the course, and you have to stay the course in unpopular situations or with unpopular responses.
Mm-hmm.
Carmen says, if I can connect with someone who has accomplished what I hope to achieve, that makes all the difference.
Yes.
Absolutely, Carmen.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
a motivator right there.
Yes,
That is
ma'am.
a motivator, and that is what we need. Uh, Angie says, I press, but
Yes.
I press.
Mm-hmm.
Francina says, this is helpful. Now, this is good too.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing the end result.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing the end result. And sometimes the end result is not what we imagine it's going to be.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the end result is just the knowledge that I have fulfilled the assignment,
Yeah.
because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we don't know how far what we are doing extends,
Right.
and that's why I always tell people, just do the part you know to do.
Mm-hmm.
Stay committed to the part that
Mm-hmm.
you know you can handle. you know
Mm-hmm.
Stay
Mm-hmm.
committed to the part and continue with what you are given to do, and
Right.
God will draw
Do
to
the right.
you. We don't
Yes.
about that a lot of times, but
Mm-hmm.
we're going along doing things, wondering a lot of times, especially when we've done conferences and things like that, who's gonna come, who's
Yes.
gonna show up, who's gonna buy,
Right. How
who's
many people are coming?
who's gonna spend some money. I need somebody to
Mm-hmm.
spend some money. I
Money.
need another income. Where the finances coming from.
Right.
But if I just do what I know how to do in
Yes.
excellence, God
Mm-hmm.
has already pre-selected the
Right.
people that He wants to be there.
I
He has
agree.
already pre-selected the people that need what you have and what you
Mm-hmm.
are offering and what you are doing. But if you stop short,
Mm-hmm.
you'll never
Never
know.
know.
You will
You
never
never know.
understand. And I think it is, let me see, uh, this line in the poem says, and many a failure turns about when you might have won. You might have won
Mm-hmm.
if you stuck it out.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't always look, stick with God's vision. There you go.
Yes, right.
Stick. You got to be able to stick it out. Stick to the fight. That's what the thing says. Stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when
Mm-hmm.
things seem worse.
Yes.
You mustn't quit. You
Right.
mustn't quit. God is always with you, and He said that He would be. He said He's
Mm-hmm.
not going to leave you. He's not going to forsake you. And we cannot be at a place, particularly in this day and age and season, we are so quick to throw up our hands and walk away. We're
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
quick to say, okay, I've had enough. I've done enough. I've worked at it enough. And we have put in place our own timeline.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking for this to be done by the time I'm 30. I want this done by the time I'm 40. I
Mm-hmm.
want this to happen by the time I'm 50. And
Mm-hmm.
you have your life and your timeline all mapped out.
Mapped out.
When it doesn't happen, you feel like a failure. When it
Yes.
doesn't happen, you feel like you missed the
Mhm.
mark. And there's always that little voice saying, "Why not?"
Exactly. And that's not a small voice sometimes.
Yep.
That why bother voice sometimes, and especially if you are at the place where all of your emotions are in play.
Mm-hmm.
That why bother sometimes, man, that is the train that derails. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that why bother mentality will cause that train to derail, because you can get to a place where and I have to go back with all of the feelings and the emotions, especially when you get to that place where this is how to happen at this point in time, and I need this to happen at this point in time, and this needs to happen at that point in time, and then you get to relive why it didn't happen. I shouldn't have done
I
this.
did wrong. Yeah.
Right. You start replaying it over again, and because you put the timeline, wasn't God ordained timeline. That was your timeline.
Right.
So if it didn't match up and didn't work, that's because you did it in your own strength, not in his.
Mm-hmm.
Not in his. And that's a big difference. But yeah, but that emotional thing, that woo, that
Let me
that'll
ask
derail you.
the people who are listening, those of you who are listening or watching tonight, just put in the comment section, do you have that mentor or that individual? And this is aside from we know, and it goes without saying, to seek his face, to seek his face. But do you have that person that you can go to when you feel yourself, because sometimes you feel yourself spiraling
Yeah.
down, you feel yourself getting to that place where the enemy has been in your ear and said, girl, you must be crazy, why did you
Yeah.
even start that, why did you even
Mm-hmm.
try that? And that begins to set up things within you that say, you
Mm-hmm.
know what, I probably shouldn't. I
Mm-hmm.
probably need to put my energy somewhere else, my money
Mm-hmm.
somewhere else, my whatever somewhere else. Do any of you who are watching and listening, if you can put in the comments, do you have that person, that positive person that can push you, uh,
Mm-hmm.
that can help to motivate you, that helps you turn things around? And if so, what kind of things do they do? Do they pray with you? Do they just offer guidance? What do they do? I know I have somebody that I can call and I say, look, I just want to talk to you, and I can recount and retell or tell them about what it is and how I'm feeling, and they're very good to listen to me and say, okay, we've spent enough time on that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Mm-hmm.
pray, let's take
Mm-hmm.
some action, and let's move it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Francina said, yes, yes, she does have that person. And she also said, patience in God's appointed time,
Mm-hmm.
although it can be difficult.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the dots that we're going to be talking about, Francina, in the weeks to come is going to be about trusting God's timing.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting
Mm-hmm.
God's timing, because in the picture that we are
Yeah.
trying to make, this
Yeah.
life picture that we're trying to craft here, it is vitally important that we are on His timeline, just like Lynn was talking about, and not try to do it on our own, do it by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Look, we've got. Let me see if there's anything else I want to cover on this tonight. I think that we covered what makes you want to quit.
Mm-hmm.
There was one other thing, and that was getting hung up on the details. Hung up on the
Man.
details. That can make you want to quit too.
Mm-hmm.
You can just
Mm-hmm.
get to the point where you are so busy fine tuning that you don't move. You can stop
Right.
yourself. You will self sabotage because you are not thinking in terms of the fact that if God gave it to you to do, He's going to give you what you need to get it done.
Right. Right.
So you're trying to say, and anything that is too big for you is just right for
I
God.
forgot.
tell us that all the time, all the time. And we have to remember that.
Me,
Yeah.
sorry. For me, the best thing for me sometimes is when I do it afraid.
Yes.
The
You
best thing
trust
sometimes for
more.
me is when I do it afraid, because
More.
I don't have time to do the details.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to take the nesty plunge and go into the deep, and like God is in the details. But when I don't do it in my own strength and I do it afraid, and it's just like, okay, it just works.
Yeah.
It just works. And then I there's sometimes, yeah, I do stuff and it's just like, ooh, what were you thinking when you said yes to that? You know, it's like,
But you know
ooh.
something too, Lynn? Those are always the times that I find the outcome
Mm-hmm.
was not doesn't end up being what I think the outcome was supposed to be.
Right.
You know, we did a conference together one time, and it wasn't as well attended as we hoped it would be. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of it,
Mm-hmm.
the lady who was in charge of the facility
Mm-hmm.
asked
Yeah.
us to
Yeah.
pray for her daughter
Right.
who had been through one of those bad hurricanes. And after we prayed, because she said, "Would you mind praying for her?" And we said, "Look, we can do that right now." And we
Mm-hmm.
put everything down and we prayed with her for
Mm-hmm.
her daughter. And afterwards, we looked at each other and said, "That's what this was about."
Yep, that was that event, the my me, myself,
Me,
and
myself,
I.
and I.
That was
Me,
my
myself.
event, the me, myself, and I, but not only for her, but for somebody else that was there.
Yes.
Somebody
Yes,
else that
that's
I
right.
asked to speak. Right. Somebody else that I asked to speak because she had lost her husband recently and had to redefine herself and who she
Mhm.
was. And to have that other person in the audience, I mean, just literally holler out, "You were speaking to me." I mean, it just
Yes,
made, and
yes.
I almost canceled. That was the thing. I almost canceled the event because
Mhm. Mhm.
nobody was buying tickets. We gave tickets away. I just need you, I need somebody's in the seat. And so it got to be not so much the details on the money, the aspect for the money, as much as it was that it was somebody that needed us there.
Yes. Yep.
Somebody needed us to be there. That was the hurricane for like Puerto Rico. Oh gosh, I
I
know.
think
I
it was
remember.
80.
Right, and I remember because we were going on the cruise that time, and every island that we were supposed to go to was hit. And
Yeah.
that lady had not talked to her daughter in weeks. Had
Mhm.
not talked to her daughter in weeks, and so we were there for the lady in the audience and for the the assistant that was there, to just open the door and unlock the door. So it, like you said, it's in the details. It's all he's let him do it. Just
And
say yes.
they're his details.
Yeah, they're
They're
his
his
details.
and not ours. Let me read something that Carmen put here. She said, yes, she has that person who encourages her.
Excuse me.
She said, sometimes it's prayer, a
Mm-hmm.
discussion, or there's such connection that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's just a look that speaks volumes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's all you need.
That's all you need.
All you need. We are coming up on closing time. Our time went by fast tonight. I hope that we have given you some nuggets to think about and some things that will help you on your journey for that continuance, for that persistence, for that resistance to opposition and danger and hardship and all of those other things that attempt to get in your way. Know that you can do it. Know that you have the strength to do it. Know that you are equipped to do it. Know that God is with you and you are not alone in the
Right.
endeavor. And know that, as Lynn said, know your whys. One of your whys
Yes.
should be to see that picture, to see the outline of that picture, to see that picture be at a place where it is You've got all your dots where they're supposed to be, and
Mm-hmm.
you say, aha, that's what it's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
look like.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Supposed to do. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I got
Mm-hmm.
two last things to say from one of these poems. It says, all the sad words of tongue or pen, of all the sad words of tongue and pen, the saddest are these, it might have been.
Yep.
It might have been. So don't be in a place where you are saying it might have been. It could have happened. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what would have happened if I had just stayed the
Yes.
course, if I just hadn't quit, if I had just put my tenacity in play,
Mm-hmm.
connected the dots and
Yep.
connected the dots. I hope that you all got something out of this evening. And we're going to be coming back. Let me see what other topics we're going to cover. I'm tell you right now. We're going to talk about trusting God's timing. I think that's on the 28th of the month. We're going to talk about denials. One of the topics is going to be delayed gratification. And we're going to talk about offense. What happens when you do not intend to offend?
Ooh.
Ooh, ooh. So you all want to come back for those, don't you? I know you do.
Dang. Wow.
Thank you for being here with us tonight on When Life Speaks. Lynn, thank you so much. It's always a joy when you come back and co-host with me. I really appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you.
And look, guys, we will be back here. At least I'll be back here again next week for another, I won't say chapter, but another episode for connecting these dots so that we can get our life in alignment and continue to grow and continue to do what God would have us to do. So come back next
Come on
week.
back.
So you can turn down the volume of life for about 45 minutes and get ready to receive so that when life speaks, you'll
speak life.
That's it. Good night, Lynn. Good night.
Good night.